Guys, welcome back. It is Racer X, and today is actually a bright and sunny day here in Dallas, Texas, and we are almost at 30 degrees, so it is a heat wave here. And hopefully by tomorrow, I'll actually be able to get the cars out and start getting some normal car footage for you guys again. But for today, I actually wanted to put a little video together. This is one I've been meaning to do for a long time. It is definitely one that is kind of close to my heart and one I'm very passionate about. It's about dealer markup. Should dealerships be able to basically charge you whatever the hell they want to for a car, despite the fact that the manufacturer has put an MSRP out there on that car? Is it a fair practice? Is it an immoral practice? I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my thoughts, do a little bit of research, and it should be an interesting one. Also, guys, if you are new to my channel, do me a great big favor. Hit that subscribe button for me. I'm seeing that only about 75% of you guys watching this video are actually subscribed to my channel, and I could really use your support. I have so many great things coming up for you this year. It's going to be a lot of fun. Also, follow me on Instagram, and here we go. We got the 1,000 horsepower HELLCAT. God. Yeah, we are getting just a little bit of melt today. Not a whole lot. The snow is actually kind of still. It's really not melting a whole lot, but a little bit. And reason for hope, of course, it will freeze again tonight. But by tomorrow, it's actually supposed to get above freezing. So maybe we can actually start getting out there with these cars again and having a little bit of fun. But for the time being, I'm going to go inside because it is cold. Now, safely back in my office where it's actually warm, I want to talk a little bit about sort of what inspired me to make this video. It's been one that's kind of been on my mind for a while. Essentially, as I tried to reach out to different dealerships, I've got a pretty good relationship with a lot of different dealerships, but really just about a vehicle that's on the market right now, looking to make a little bit of a change for the channel. And, one of the things that I was told is, hey, look, we'll get back with you. We realize you have a social media platform, and we feel like, it could benefit our dealership to have some exposure from you, and we can give you a great deal in return. And of course, when the management staff returned my phone call, it was, well, listen, Racer X, we want to do you a solid. We want to do a big favor to you, and we will sell you this vehicle for $20,000 over MSRP, which to me seemed like just an absolute insult. Really, I'm one of those guys that will never pay over MSRP for a car. I have very specific thoughts on why I feel like that is not okay. But first, let's talk a little bit about really what a dealer markup is. So I don't know when the whole practice of a dealer markup or ADM actually really started, probably quite some time ago when there was a vehicle that was rare or highly sought after. And the dealerships decided, you know what? I can make more money off these people because, it's something that is driving market value. That's what these dealerships will tell you. Well, I'm just selling the car for market value. But here is reality. These dealerships are the only people that can buy these cars from the manufacturer. It's not like I can call up Dodge or Chevy or Ford or BMW or any of those guys and say, listen, I would really like to buy a car directly from you without dealing with a dealership. Simply doesn't happen. It's not allowed. And I realize that the car industry is not the only industry where that's the case. It's actually the case with a lot of things. But it brings up a lot of interesting little rules and laws that there's a lot of gray area in. And so really, you've got an MSRP or a manufacturer suggested retail price, and you've also got like dealer invoice. And I will tell you this, a lot of car dealerships don't pay exactly what dealer invoice is. Many times they actually pay much less. But when the car manufacturers make these cars, send them off to the dealership, they already have an MSRP on the car. You can get on these websites for these companies and you can build your own car to see how much it should cost you, at least from an MSRP perspective, or in my mind, what should be the most you should have to pay for that particular car. I mean, you can spec them, all that kind of stuff, and get an idea in your head, and then sometimes they have manufacturers rebates and all that kind of stuff. But these auto manufacturers build profit into the deal for these dealerships. So the whole ADM thing is where the dealerships take a vehicle that is highly sought after or that's new, and they will add additional markup on top of what that manufacturer has already specified that the selling price should be. One other little quick thing that the dealerships do like to do is they like to actually advertise at MSRP. For example, I'm sitting here looking at Auto Trader. Earlier, I was on Car Gurus. There are several other sites out there. But as you look at a car that you might want to buy, they will simply list the MSRP. And then, of course, whether you go in to do it or you actually call them and you try and get the deal done or whatever, they won't tell you till basically you're ready to sign the paperwork or after you're already in there. Oh, by the way, we're going to charge you an extra 30 grand just because we can. So, yeah, I take a little bit of issue to that. Now, I do want to add that there are some dealerships out there that simply won't charge over sticker price. I deal with a few of them here in the Dallas Metroplex. And of course, those are the dealerships that I really want to deal with. And we as consumers, we always have the ability or the right to go to whatever dealership we simply want to. But there just aren't that many dealerships out there like that. The practice of charging customers over sticker price for a highly sought after car is very common in the industry, whether it be right or wrong, however you want to look at it. But as I mentioned, this hits a very gray area. And what I mean by that is that when you look at other industries, let's say, for example, like ticket sales for concerts or sporting events, right? If you stand outside of that venue and try and sell those tickets for more than face value, that's considered scalping, right? And you can get a fine or go to jail or whatever it is that, that they do, but it's illegal. Now, but when the ticket broker agencies go in and buy up like 98% of the tickets for these events and then sell them for astronomical amounts based on demand, that's perfectly legal, which just absolutely blows my mind. I don't know how that can be legal. That's another practice. I'm like, look, all you're doing is punishing the people that just don't have $1 zillion, but still want to go do something enjoyable with their kids or their family. You're going to get punished because you don't make as much money as the next guy. I realize that's part of life, guys, but it is kind of frustrating. My whole contention with this particular thing is the fact that these manufacturers, as I mentioned, they put out an MSRP on this. If you go to the website and build the car, it says you should be able to buy it for that amount. And, so the rich lawyer from New York that goes out and has all the money in the world simply could care less. But your true enthusiast that saves for 5+ years or whatever to have their dream car and then simply gets priced out of the market by dealerships who are greedy and will only gouge them to charge them $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 over sticker for that dream car. Does that seem fair?
We're so preoccupied with whether or not they didn't stop to think if they should.
So really the reason that works for the dealerships is simply because there's always that guy out there or that group of people that simply can afford or is willing to pay it. And if those people weren't out there and, really this practice would not exist. But you have that very small segment of people out there that can afford to pay that big, huge sum over. And then, of course, the rest of the folks that simply can't are SOL, so to speak. So unfortunately, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. There's always going to be somebody that makes more money than you, that has more means than you. So how do we combat this whole situation with dealer markup? So then that begs the question, right? Well, Racer X, what in the world do we do about it? I do realize the vast majority of consumers out there sort of agree and feel like this is an immoral practice by these dealerships. So how do we combat that? Well, unfortunately, it takes cooperation from the vehicle manufacturers. Like I said, there are lots of vehicle manufacturers out there, but really it takes the manufacturers being willing to step up and impose kind of rules on these dealerships. Keep in mind, the dealerships don't exist without the manufacturers, guys. They have no product to sell if the manufacturers don't give them the product to sell so that they can make profit. So if the manufacturer steps up and says, listen, dealerships out there, if we catch you selling our products for over sticker price and gouging our end consumer, we're simply not going to send you any of our specialized vehicles anymore. That is really what it takes. I know Dodge tried this with the Demon, and in some cases, they were successful, right? They said, look, for anybody charging over sticker, we're going to wait to build those Demons until later. And as we know, it was only 3,300 of those that were made. But it didn't really work. So they would have to monitor that. It's not an easy thing, guys, but this is an industry trend that will not change overnight, and without the manufacturer's help, will not change at all, and probably won't. But if the manufacturer cares at all about the end consumer and they don't like the practice of dealerships gouging the customer, that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to step up and say, listen, we simply won't send you any more of these vehicles. If you gouge your end customer and you get greedy, it's simply not a fair practice. And I feel like enough dealerships start losing business because they can't get any specialty vehicles into their dealership, and they start sending those specialty vehicles to dealerships that won't gouge the end customer, and they get lots of that business. Things might start to change. Now, lastly, I understand that there will be people out there who sort of disagree with my viewpoint on this. And you know what? That is okay. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But my biggest bone of contention, as I mentioned, is the fact that these manufacturers should not put a price out there if you simply can't go out and purchase it for that price, because we can't order directly from the manufacturer. That's my biggest thing, and I feel like it spreads a lot of false hope, especially for people out there who save their money for a long time, that work really hard for a living, and actually want something nice, and then simply can't afford it because the greedy dealerships just simply won't sell it to them for what they're supposed to. I have a problem with that. So anyway, guys, I respect all of your opinions out there. Please feel free to put your opinions and your comments down below, and I'll be interested to see what you guys say about it. And I will catch you guys on the next one. So until then, Racer X.